Hey everybody, thanks for being here. This week we're on Shasta Lake doing a little bass fishing with a couple members of the Simpson College Bass Team.
Brought to you by Corning Ford, Procure, Clackercraft, Yakima Bait, P-Line, Max Lure, Fishfield, Brad's Fishing, Valley Marine, Ole's Fishing Charters, and Fish-Ang Products.
Now, if you want to learn how to catch more fish, stay tuned. I'm Justin Wolf and this is Angler West Television.
The Simpson University Bass Team is one of the top collegiate bass fishing organizations in the country, and this morning we're on Shasta with Aiden and Kaiden of the Simpson Bass Team.
So we're running about the middle of the cloud. You know, it's fishing pretty good right now. A lot of little ones. Kind of just got to run into a big one. And it's really just kind of running bank right now.
So it's November. You can kind of tell the fish are somewhat starting to transition away from their winter or summer into their fall pattern. Seeing a lot more fish just on the bank, not out chasing shad in the middle of nowhere. So it's been pretty good these past couple of weeks, catching fish off the bottom, jigs, Nico rigs, pretty much anything.
For sure, definitely. I mean, there's good stuff in all the arms right now, and that's just kind of where I've been focusing my time. You know, in those tournaments, there's a lot of 3-pounders in there, and 3-pounders are really essential here, you know, and there's just honestly a lot of good stuff in there, so much stuff to hit. It comes out really far and they're kind of just all over it, and you'll see a lot of them. Some will be suspended up there waiting for the shad to come across. But there's a lot of fish right now sitting up shallow in the rocks, eating crawdads and stuff, and it's just really easy to kind of pick this apart and find the good fish that are here. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, first cast. I don't know if it's bad luck, but got our first fish of the day. Tiny little Shasta Lake spotted bass.
Sitting right up there. Just seen that one fish. That's a fish right there. But they're up in the rocks, up shallow. Try and show you catching one out deep. Got that big spoon, big hunk of metal. So this is the flutter spoon, and really it's just meant to imitate like a giant shad or big trout kind of dying off, and this feather right here really helps a lot. I know Shasta with all these little ones, they'll think it's like another little shad with it, you know, falling down there and dying. And you're pretty much just dropping it on their head, and it's kind of like a reaction bite. You're fishing it pretty quick. So we'll see if we can get one. Now that I pull it out, they all disappear. There's a couple right there. As you can see, it backslides a lot right there. Let's see if these ones will do it. I might come get it. Maybe not. They're really selective. You'll get on those schools that'll eat it, you know, once it gets down to them immediately, and then those fish, you can fish it in front of them for however long and they won't touch it. But it's always worth a shot.
I don't have any Procure on here yet, and I've only gotten one bite, but I know there's fish down there, so I'm going to put some of this on, see if it makes a difference, dude. Put it on the actual the trailer of it. It seems to stick a little bit better than if you put it on the skirt.
So we're making a run a little further back. We're going to go fish some kind of rocky bluff wall type stuff.
I mean, usually right now at Shasta you can catch it should be not every cast, but almost every cast, and first spot caught one fish, but it should be a little better than that.
Got one. Not very big, but then this is on. I'm throwing the Yamamoto Hula Grub. It's that little natural shad color right there. But maybe try and imitate a little bit, kind of both that shad and craw pattern, but it's kind of my go-to color for that out here.
Welcome back to Shasta Lake. I'm Justin Wolf. We're with Aiden and Kaiden Denning of the Simpson Bass Team. Our up the McLeod arm looking for tournament grade spotted bass that are mixed in with numerous smaller fish.
So we ran almost pretty much to the back of the McLeod arm. You know, the water's a little bit cooler back here, but it gets so shad in here, and there's a lot more trout. And, you know, those bigger ones you're going to find are those trout eaters, and they'll sit up on these rocks, you know, waiting for something to come by. There's a lot of crawdads back here. But hopefully find us a better fish. That's
Two
a rat.
casts in a row. Giant.
Not what we're looking for, but
At Shasta, you usually will catch a bunch of like 8 to 12-inch fish, little rats, but I mean, it's kind of just working through those, putting your head down and keeping on fishing. You should run into a good one at some point, you would think, but some days you don't. You just catch a bunch of those smaller spotted bass. I don't know if they're just eating it from the big ones, or this particular stretch has more smaller spotted bass or what, but just kind of working through those small ones and getting lucky running into a bigger one.
putting on that Procure garlic crawfish on there. Get a couple extra bites, you know. I always feel like it tricks those big ones into eating, you know. Sometimes you get in there and you see them on like the live and you're casting to them, they're not eating. It just adds that extra touch to it.
Hey, buddy.
Maybe. These fish are deceiving. That's a better one. There we go.
Oh, it is a good one.
Oh, that's a good one for Shasta right now. Right there. Little finesse football. Yamamoto double tail on there.
Double up.
Rocks.
Oh, it came off.
Yeah, that's probably
That's a good one.
pushing 3.5 right there. So this is a Thrashco tackle. This is their finesse football, and they made it with the living rubber skirt. They got kind of that micro weed guard on there with a light wire hook. Seems to work a lot better for these spots, you know, instead of a full-size jig most of the time. And in general, I feel like we usually get, you know, those more quality bites on the jig versus throwing the worm. It kind of weeds out a lot more of those real little ones. And I feel like with the jig, oh, he's got one on right there. With the jig, you know, you cast into a school, usually one of the bigger ones is going to eat it. As opposed to, you know, drop shotting a worm or throwing a shaky head. Just kind of letting that fall down that bluff wall.
Trying to cast as close to the bank as possible because it's a pretty straight drop there. Also, the active target too helps with, oh, I missed it, seeing those fish that are sitting real tight to the bottom here on these bluff walls. Definitely gives you some hope that they're there even if you're not seeing them higher up in the water column. Yeah, there's quite a bit down there following my jig down. Probably 5 or 6 of them looking right at it right now. And I didn't know it was gonna be windy.
Yeah.
The weather didn't say it was gonna
Well, like yesterday it was like 2 footers up in here. And
Really?
like dead calm in the pit. A little bit more wind here, and usually, you know, for boat position, it makes it tougher, but I definitely think it kind of conceals you a little more, makes the bite a little bit better, and they're not hearing, you know, you walking around or your trolling motor, which I think is a big thing when you get on fish, is they'll hear you, and having them not know you're there is pretty key. About ripped the rod out of my hand. Explains it. Oh,
Yeah.
quick release.
Yeah, so I'm throwing this on 12. Just sometimes the fish can be line shy. The only issue I noticed with throwing this light of line is that when you're fishing rocks like these, you can kind of get some fray in your line, so you're gonna have to retie more than you would have to if you're throwing heavier. But I feel like it gets me a little bit more bites throwing 12-pound compared to like a say 15 or 17. But yeah, it doesn't seem to really matter that much on Shasta right now though. Maybe a little better one here. Not a giant, but Little bit better. Shasta spotted bass here. Keeper, better than what I've been catching today.
Aiden and Kaiden from the Simpson Bass Team are getting lots of bites, but to be competitive in tournaments, they know how important it is to get a few big bites as well.
I mean, in a tournament on Shasta these days, 15's a really good bag, and that's usually, you know, you're winning it with 15 or you're top 3, you know. I mean, there's obviously, right now, sometimes you get on that swim bait bite where you're catching those 5-6 pounders, but to get in check range right now, it's probably about 11 to 13 pounds, but it changes so much, it differs every tournament.
It's got it pretty choked down there, that's how you know they're on those crawdads.
They're getting smaller. Wow. I know, it was on like that big
rock.
Yeah, so see if we can pick one up there.
We just got done fishing this bluff. It's transitioning into a little bit more mud, chunk rock on it. Sometimes, or most of the times actually, you can catch fish right on the transition where it goes from rock to mud. It's a pretty successful area.
Doubled up. Is one of them big?
Decent spotted bass here. Choked that nail-weighted Cinco there.
A little bit of slack line. I'm trying to let it, this is a little less steep, but when those steeper banks, you want to have it kind of fall as straight down as possible. But really just feeling, you know, they're hitting it when you're pausing it, so you'll pick up and you'll feel them bumping it. But in these sticks too, sometimes it's hard to tell whether you're pulling into a stick or getting bit. But sometimes those bigger ones, they'll just kind of sit on it, you know, and they're not running away with it like those 12-inchers are.
Do you want to roll?
I'd
some more bluff.
Probably go run like that one over there. Around that corner, there's another good bluff.
Okay. Catching a lot of spotted bass right now. I think just the fishing here is so good for spots because just the amount of food they have. There's so much shad in here. A lot of crawdads. It's steep. They've got a lot of ground to cover. I mean, 365 miles of shoreline here. So it's like prime habitat for these spotted bass. A lot of bluff walls, ridge pilings, just stuff that they are kind of known to sit on. Unlike those largemouth, spawn deeper, you know, they can adapt to those changing water levels a lot easier. And it just kind of helps them thrive a lot more versus, you know, when you have a lake that's coming up in the spring or coming up in the winter and then dropping real low, it messes with those largemouth. But it just causes those spots to thrive, and that's why Shasta's so good for it. Got one on right now. Another little one. Dog in there. Giant.
Oh my gosh. Mega. Hopefully some bigger ones down there. All those fish down there, right there, those are all bass in 55 foot of water. Go back to them. Oh yeah, that one's. Got one. A big hunk of metal. Might have him hooked weird. He's not fighting me very much. It is a really fun bite though, I enjoy it. Oh yeah, he's on the stinger, then I got him with the the big hook there. But a lot of times when you're on them and they're fired up, you'll catch, one on the stinger and one with the main hook on there.
We're going back to Shasta Lake, but first here's your fish field tackle connection. Now when fishing a deep, clear lake like Shasta, using a fluorocarbon line can really make a big difference. Now the Simpson College Bass Team likes to use that P-Line Tactical, which is a great choice. It's a high-quality Japanese fluorocarbon that's completely invisible to the fish, but also is super dense and has a high sink rate, meaning you can get those really light baits down deep quickly. That's a big advantage. Now, Fishfield's got a great selection of lots of different types of fishing lines, but be sure to check out that P-Line Tactical Fluorocarbon. Now, let's go back to Shasta Lake and see if we can't catch a few more bass.
Welcome back to Lake Shasta. I'm Justin Wolf. It's a perfect fall day in Northern California on Shasta, just one of the many lakes nationwide that the Simpson Bass Team competes on throughout the year.
Fishing for the Simpson Bass Team, we go out east typically once or twice a semester. We just wrapped up at Kentucky Lake and Lake Dardanelle earlier this month in late September. We are also get to fish all the local tournaments here at Shasta. We just also fished the Clear Lake Yamamoto tournament last weekend, but mostly in the winter we fish all these local club tournaments, the Phils, propeller tournaments, and the ABA. We've got the ABA at Shasta this weekend. So yeah, that's what we're looking forward to. And in the spring, we're probably gonna go back east again.
So this year we have 15 anglers on the team, which is the most we've ever had, and it's really awesome. I think we have 8 boats on the team, so there's no shortage of people to fish with and time to go out, and it's just really good environment. And I mean, if you want to learn, there's so much to learn here, and learn from your teammates also, people that have been here fishing for the last 4 years, so it's a really good experience, and the team's doing really well this year.
Yeah, so we made up a switch. We're trying to cover more bank. He's throwing the crankbait, and I decided to pick up this little underspin. 1/4 ounce, 2.8 Kitech, really matches those small threadfin shad that they're eating.
I just lost him.
Casting it right up on the bank and then literally reeling it as slow as you can reel. Seems to be pretty successful. Little largemouth. Yeah, so we're here in Jones Valley, known for kind of its largemouth population, and just so happens that my first bite in here was a largemouth, so it's a good sign. Know there's big ones in here somewhere. Just gotta luck into one of them.
There's a lot of people in here. You could tell these fish are finicky and they've been fished for, not really wanting to bite. But we're gonna go run some other spots that should have more unpressured fish and more kind of bottom oriented. I mean, we couldn't really get these suspended fish to go. Good one? Sounded like he locked you up.
At another Shasta spot, I mean, fat, not big, but better than what we've been catching today. Healthy Shasta spotted bass.
Oh, yeah. It's dropped like 6 inches since yesterday.
Yeah. Should go up before we know it.
Another one, huh?
Another fish on the jig coming up. Not big. Fun fish though. Water's super clear here. You can see him trying to spit it.
This one?
Yeah.
There you go. It's actually not a bad one.
Yeah, maybe a 2-pounder.
Got another one on the jig up here. A little bit deeper, probably in about 15. still another healthy one. A good keeper right now on Shasta for a tournament, I would say 2.5. Around there would probably be a good keeper size. Really, to be competitive right now, you need to probably have at least 12 pounds. I'd say around 15 to 17 to win it. So it's been pretty consistent. I mean, there's obviously off days. Like I fished a tournament, I think 2 weeks ago, where it took, I think 12 pounds a day to win it. So it changes a lot out here. I feel like it changes daily. So I'm retying this little finesse football jig here. P-line's been essential today. I'm throwing 15-pound tactical. It's 100% fluorocarbon, and it's really essential when we're fishing chunk rock like that out there. You know, you're getting snagged all the time. You're dragging through stuff that's fraying up your line. That would fray up your line if you weren't using P-line. We haven't broke any fish off today. It's been a really good day.
So for this drop shot rig, I'm throwing like a 15-pound high vis braid, and then this is 8-pound tactical, I believe. This is kind of my go-to for drop shot. If the fish are being super finicky, I might downsize to the 6-pound tactical, but yeah.
That was shallow.
Yeah. The water's really clear.
Yeah.
Another spot on the jig.
Hey, I hope you found today's episode valuable and it helps you catch more fish. And be sure to watch this episode again, plus hundreds of other episodes on the Angler West TV YouTube channel. Plus, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, without our sponsors, there is no show, so please thank them when you can. Now, get out there and do some great fishing.